when we do the talks, when we do the live talks, we tend not to want to have many questions because really you want to sort of starve the questioner so that it finds out it's the answer, yeah? You get the little logic. There's a logic behind it, yeah. Because I used to go to talks and as soon as this question and answer period started, it would turn usually into relationship questions, and then the horse was out of the barn and it was tough to put the horse back into the barn, which is fine and dandy in the right setting, but for me, non-duality is its own little topic, yeah, or actually duality. So that's why when I do a lot of live stuff, we don't usually have many questions, and the question and answer period's like 3 minutes, and then shuts off. Yes, can't hear me? Hey, honey, they can't. Mike, they can't hear. Honey, Mike.
Is that what?
Maybe it's you. Can you hear me, Andrew? No. Anyone else can hear me?
You muted Paul. Okay. Well, I don't know why. I'll just unmute all. Oh, I know why.
Oh wait, hold on. You muted me.
Yeah, I guess because this. Okay. Can they hear you now?
Can you hear me now? I just shared the secret handshake.
I heard it.
You heard it. Good, good. Well,
I'm going to mute all and then I'll unmute you. Okay.
All right.
Just 1 second. Okay. Now everybody's muted except you.
All right. So, hello there. Once I do some new shirts, you'll get a shirt. Can you see me, Jerry?
Yes, talk.
Oh,
Hey, can you see me?
Oh, good. Yeah, I can see you and hear you.
I had Paul's. I had roast my wife's name by accident.
No, I see you. I see both of you. Yeah, nice to see you. Good. We're not making any new shirts lately, so.
When you get a chance,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have the wrong size.
I know. We're gonna.
If you have an extra expense, let me know.
I gotta wait for the demand to build and then the supply. I can't. I'm not going on any trips, so I don't know if I can sell through Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's. You want to start now, Mike? You want to start?
Paul, that was my wife. She says, "Hold on."
Yes. Hey, how are you, honey?
Everything's
How
started.
are you? Love you.
Good.
Everything's started.
Yeah. All right. So let's start with any question. Anyone have one? Alberto?
Hi, Paul.
Yes.
I didn't raise my hand. I don't really have any questions, but while you're asked, I just wanted to say hi. I'm in Barcelona.
Nice to see you. Yes.
Remember me?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the situation is a bit dramatic here, but since I'm on house arrests,
Yeah.
I participate. Get a little bit, get slapped another time.
Yes. Yeah. My pleasure. Yeah. This is a sadomasochist Zoom. We're all refusing to get it, and you just got to keep getting slapped.
Actually, maybe just one little thing.
Yeah.
I have, well, let's make a concession to language, but you know what I mean. I understood everything. I got it, right? I got it. I don't really have questions. The only thing is that it seems to me that in order for the remembrance to occur, I guess my question is, what do you do? What do you do, like in your experience, when you realize that you get lost with the action figure?
Well, I see. I'm not that which got lost, really.
Okay, but that's like a revelation that you have.
Well, it's a revelation until it becomes sort of standardized, because whenever there's like a ping, and then there's someone that shows up, it's not you. So after about maybe 100 pings, you don't need to keep saying it's not you on the 500th ping, yeah?
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, one could say that,
See, I don't believe anyone gets lost in selfing. I believe the mental state gets lost in selfing, but I don't believe that we're the mental state. Yeah? So it's not like I'm denying that the experience or this feeling is you're lost. I'm denying it from you're not that feels it's lost. Yeah?
Right.
It doesn't see, people want to not feel they're lost. Yeah? People want to never have another judgment again. They're going to be waiting a long, long time. Judgments occurs, feelings of being lost and found, connected, disconnected, they all arise, yeah? Almost like a constant mental ticker tape parade, yes? Always, always. But it's what's being subtly or really crudely implied is it's you that's lost. It's you that's disconnected. That's where I don't see that to be so. Yeah. So what they're saying is there's a feeling of whatever that would. What do you feel? What's feeling lost feel like anyway? You know what I mean? It's just an idea, but the idea. So, and that one who feels lost obviously doesn't want to feel lost. Yeah. But if you're not that you that doesn't want to feel lost, you may be found in the losing. Yes. Yeah. This all new possibilities show up when it's not you lost. Lost can be an incredible adventure in a lot of ways. Yeah. All this stuff. So it's this. I'm not arguing with what's happening. I'm arguing with the idea that it's the true pointing that there's a someone there. I don't believe that. Yeah. Yeah. So after a while, you see it enough times to you see it enough times, and bro, we're having some kind of a.
I'm gonna mute all and then unmute you.
All right, mute all. Hold on. Am I muted now?
And now you're
Unmuted?
Yeah.
All right. So, obviously, the idea that wants to not be a body is the body idea. Yeah? The idea that you're lost, that idea doesn't want to be lost. Yeah? This is how the bondage occurs. So people keep speaking as if that which moved there and then went here and went up there and went under here was them. It's not them. Yeah? It's not them. So let's just be at least clear about that as an intellectual understanding. But the funny thing is, with an intellectual understanding, so here's the intellectual understanding, and then it aligns with a real understanding that has some oomph, yeah? So the intellectual understanding triggers another one that doesn't need the intellectual understanding. Now, I don't need to see 8,000 gymnastic moves. I can just see 5, a couple backflips, this and that, and then I sort of get it that whatever is noticed isn't me. Yeah? Yeah. So, and then you'll see the problem by the solution. You'll see why things weren't seemingly available because you wanted to be available. Yeah? So you lose interest in being the one who's lost, and then you don't get lost as much, so to speak. Yeah? The feeling of disconnected and connected doesn't matter anymore. The idea that it's like that premise of it's so important, and there's a lot of businesses that want us to find out how to get into the moment, but it's predicated on an idea that's insane that you and I could be out of a moment. Really, it is. Yeah? So that doesn't even get looked at. You're just taking it to be a fact that you can be out of the moment, and therefore it becomes desirable to get into the moment. Yes? Yeah, that's the bondage. So you see that it's obvious just through observation. I've never been out of any moment that I've been in. There's no way. Yeah? So these things can be put to rest. They don't come up for debate or review every few months. Some things in recovery, we have a statement called being convinced. Now, I didn't know I had that capability, but I have that capability because I was struck sober and I was convinced, that I was not managerial quality and I was powerless over alcohol and drugs. They've never come up for a debate or anything, It's been 32 years now. Totally put to rest, it doesn't resurrect itself, it doesn't return, it doesn't regroup, it's just obvious, That isn't just for that one idea, it's applicable in all ideas. You can get to a point where you've seen enough,
Right.
Yeah, and then there's no desire to get out of Paul as Paul, and that's the way you start sensing what you were hoping you would sense if you got out of you, But it wasn't produced by getting out of you. It was always available because you were never in you, That's the beauty of it. It's a little switcheroo, but when it sets, it explains the insanity of the mental logic. You just see how freaking insane the thinking and the conceptions and all these things that are going on are. Really. And so, you lose, I don't know what. I can only share the observation of how this thing has changed, because I can't share the observation of that which never changes, But I can share the observation of what's happened to this, and this was wanting to get out of this since I was 6 years old, All the science fiction I read, all the Edgar Allan Poe I read, I was always trying to get out of me as me with no idea that was going on. And so every time I failed, the self-centeredness turned on itself, and I felt worse and worse that there must be something really, really bad about me that I can't get out of me as me. You can't get out of what you're not in. Yeah.
I got it. Yeah. So even saying, I keep on re-identifying, even that is a trap, because again, let's call it the ego has reappropriated that. I can see even when I say, how I'm frustrated because I keep on re-identifying, but even that is a trap, because the ego already has appropriated. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But it hasn't done it. See, this is where our role in it is. We are the power source, We're the source of the power that, in a way, like in recovery, we call it something's playing God, Something that is not God is playing God. By how? By convincing God that God is that. So now it's got the God juice to go off on a giant fucking horror movie spree, so to speak. You know what I mean?
It's like when you're saying, I've heard you say many times, it's like, when people, call you and they say, oh my God, it's so good, but I've been selfing again. It got you. When you're saying that, just by saying that, it got you again.
Well, it hasn't. There's nothing to get, but it implies that there's someone that got it. Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like there's a boy crying wolf about the boy crying wolf. About the boy crying wolf, about the boy crying wolf. Yeah?
Right.
You're none of them. You're not the first boy, nor are you the fourth boy. Yeah? You don't. Yeah. Now, the second boy crying wolf believes it's going to get real relief when it sees it's not the first boy crying wolf. Then it gets terribly disappointed because what it hoped by the absence of the first boy, the peace and the bliss would stabilize ever, and it can't. It looks around and it can't find why that isn't the case, because it's not seeing it's taking the role of being the boy who's crying wolf. Yes? Yeah. So you just see it. After you see it, hopefully after you see it or see it, you'll lose interest in it. Yeah? Because it's not you. Really. I mean, if your interest in being the second boy who cried wolf is based on what it thinks it's going to get by being free from the first one, it's obviously past the point of being completely disappointed because it hasn't worked. Yeah? So the third one, that hasn't worked. The fourth one hasn't worked. The fourth boy crying wolf catching the first three hasn't produced what it was assuming it would occur, because it's the boy crying wolf.
It's still the boy, yes.
You're not that. That's the joy of it. Yeah. Could you imagine if you were that and you'd have to try not to be that? What? That'd be a huge amount of work. Yeah? The beauty of non-duality is, from non-duality's view, there's no problem. So there's really no need for a solution. Now, if the problem tries to apply that, it doesn't work. Yeah? If the problem starts walking around, there is no problem, that's a big problem, especially for his friends. Yeah? But if you actually see the activity of selfing, that isn't, it's implying a self. There is no self it's referring to. It's implying that there's a self it's referring to. Wow, so therefore there's no need to kill anything or vanquish anything, a lifetime struggle with it. No, I'm not that. Yeah? What happens if something's not about you? You lose interest in it. You do on some level. Yeah? You don't have to, I'm going to go back behind enemy lines, get my interest. No, it's sort of like the line on a vacuum cleaner. You press this little button and the line comes back, where you plug the thing into the wall. You just press the button, it comes back. You don't have to pull it back. So you lose interest in it, and there you go. And what happens? You observe that interest has been found in other things and no thing, let's say. And let's say if the interest and attention ever lands on its own nature, its own attribute, let's say presence, then the interest and attention rests, Then it spends a little here and there to make it through a day, but it's not worrying for 50 freaking years. It's got enough to navigate today, and then most of the interest and attention is just resting. I don't know what you want to call it, presence, And then you actually get what you can't find yourself. You travel lighter as the action figure. Now, the action figure has to go through some rude awakenings that it's the reason why it can't travel lighter. So it's got to get humility and get a sense of collapsible surrender. Hey, I'd really like it to go great for me, but it's me wanting that is the drag. So it comes to a rude awakening that the vehicle can't go to where I wanted to go. Yes? So you see, hopefully you see you're not the vehicle. So now, see, people are on a ride, so to speak. They believe they're on a ride, but they don't realize the body is the ride. The body-brain is the ride. Now, the body-brain wants to get off the rides it thinks it's on, but it's the ride. You can't get out of you as you. So I try to, I've been sharing it for years. I just attempt to share it to the best of my limited abilities. And, just keep banging away at that nail. I don't see any point, really. If you don't see this, you're going to be looking from its effects. And then basically a lot of your behavior could be captured in self, can't get out of self.
Right.
Yeah. And yet we have enough evidence to observe that, but we're relying on a system, self-centeredness, that does not see that. Its programming does not see that. It will try to get out of self as self for fucking 60 years. It'll use drug addiction, sex, money, retreats, satsangs. It'll try to use every possible thing it comes in contact with to get out of itself. It won't admit, I don't think it can really, that it can't happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this just speeds up that inevitable process, and then maybe you can just start from today realizing all the tools of understanding and knowing and experiencing and studying don't apply to that which you already are. It just doesn't work. Yeah, you can't set yourself up as someone else to study yourself. It doesn't work. Yeah, you have to admit you're not that which wants to study the truth, and that's the freaking truth.
I'm gonna try.
All right.
Oh. Can you guys raise your hands? I tried to raise my hand, and no, I mean on the raise hand feature you can. Okay,
I
good.
see it. Senna.
Not that you have to. I'm just making sure it works. Thanks. And then somebody raise their hand up here.
Senna.
Cheers, Philip, afterwards.
Hi. Thank you, Paul, for doing this.
Hi, how are you?
Okay. I was wondering, so the action figure is the illusionary self. Is that what it is?
No, it's an illusionary thing. It's not a self. Yeah. So the action figure is an appearance. It doesn't imply that it's a self. It's the mental state that uses it to reinforce this crazy idea. Yeah. The body doesn't think it's a self. It's just whatever. I haven't talked to my elbow lately, but it doesn't think it's a self. Yeah? The brain is organizing around this idea. It didn't organize around it until about maybe a year and a half into production. Yes? Then there was a sense of you and other, and then things were given names, and then we started to be absorbed. Really, what we're not became fixated on a narrative. Yeah? And so the I am got forgotten, in a sense, by the emphasis as I am Paul. Yeah? Now Paul wants to get to have the experience of I am, but Paul can't have that experience of I am. Yeah? So when you see you're not Paul, then there's the sense of that I amness. Yeah? It's the same direction. Just keep the same direction. You have ample evidence of what you're not. I mean, I don't know how we cannot come to this conclusion with a simple invitation to look at it that way. I really don't. It's mind-boggling to me. We have so much evidence that time, what the hell is time? It's like Thursday, today's Saturday, Friday, just seems like it never happened. Really, doesn't it? There's very little evidence that it's happened. All this stuff, what does it imply? It must lead us to some possibility. If you just look for a few minutes, you see that they prove it all the time. A guy was on here the other day. They do a simple test. There's an action occurs, and it takes a half a second for the selfing to claim it, yeah, as being the doer. But the selfing, there's no selfing. The action occurs, and then the system claims the action to imply the self. So, do you want to be that which is after, or are you that which is before? There is a before, a way before here. And then if we're the end all and be all, then what's that? Where we are totally inconsequential to that, and yet we're totally, as this, dependent on it. Yeah? Without consciousness, there would be no story of Paul. Yet, how much of that is being acknowledged or honored? Maybe Paul tries to honor it, but maybe see you're not Paul, and that's the real honoring it. Then you at least get close. The attention and interest gets close to the vicinity of, let's say, source, beginning and end, or what actually is. And then it's sort of, it all has to do is get close to that idea, and then the gravity of the idea pulls it in. It pulls the interest and attention. Now our narrative is, I'm losing interest in stuff. I'm losing interest in everything. And we get afraid because the interest and the topics, reinforces this idea, but they get pulled off of that little imaginary planet and they go to the home planet. So now there's a sufficient enough interest and attention resting in that, then you see the fucking insanity of this place. To the point it's like DC Comics Bizarro World, really. I mean, totally ass backwards. We're living a world of nouns, thinking we're doing the verbs, where the verbs are all that's happening. It's incredible, really, it is. It's incredible. And I don't care how many branches of intricate riffing the mental state can do, it's all rooted on an imaginary point. Yeah. I went to stuff, I wanted, I sat in places 13 hours, saw phenomena shifting in front of me, all this stuff. It had no lastability, because the sense of Paul was claiming it all and neutering it, None of it led me back to where I've never left. None of it did, What worked with me is when someone shared with me and gave me these ideas, and you could call it the negative way or whatever you want to do it, but that made sense because I couldn't believe if I am a lion, why am I not getting the message I'm a lion? It just blew my mind. If I am that, I mean, do I have to get closer to the teacher? Do I have to live with the person? Whatever. How am I missing it? And then I realized it's through the act of being identified as a sheep. And then the sheep becomes the dominant programming, and every message I hear about being like a lion triggers a little resonance, but no lastability because the sheepness overwhelms it. Turns it into, I can become like a lion, which is not the message. That's not a random event of one satsang I went to. That's a fact. See it. I much rather I would have loved to have had a school by now with like franchise schools around the country, and I could be in Hawaii or something, drinking fresh coconut juice and then giving out the next secret whatever mudra posture that's going. This one's going to do it. This one's. I don't see it that way. I see a basic. It's not about turning this way or that. There's got to be like a shutting down and let the horse get in front of the cart. And when it does, in your view, you'll see it's always been that way. And you'll really see the dreamlike quality of what we're wanting to be so real every day. You'll see it. You won't be able to usher it off the stage fast. You won't be able to conceptualize it. There'll be a seeing of it, which will leave a very big impression, And then that impression will seek expression. To me, that's the basis of traveling lighter, The ability not to take yourself so seriously. Yes,
Lee's got his hand up, and then Philip afterwards, because I don't think knows.
Oh, let's go Phil first, and then Lee.
Okay.
Phil, how are you? Oh, we got to unmute you. Hold on.
Oh, and I just had to say hello. Hi, Santa.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, all right, Phil. How are you?
Well, I'm in Brisbane.
Yes, I can see it. Unless your name is Brisbane.
It's lockdown here, but I want to ask you to expand a bit more about the idea of the action figure. It seems to me a little bit disassociated, like the idea of the sheep and the lion. I mean, in reality, are they actually the one thing, or is the action figure a kind of device? It feels like to me that it's the kind of the hand puppet thing where I'm this kind of empty action figure going around.
Yeah, the hand in the
It
glove.
seems to diminish my experience. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. It's the hand in the glove, yes. But the other thing that there isn't a lion and sheep. There's no one thing or two things. There's no thing, but there's an appearance of a lion. And then that appearance of a lion is entertaining the appearance of a sheep. Really.
It's all part of the story of this.
Yeah, and it's not going to last long anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, literally as the what's happening now, but definitely.
Yeah, that seems okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I missed you when you were in Australia. You didn't come up to Brisbane. You only were in Melbourne.
Yeah. We're gonna do more next time,
Oh, great.
and because we don't have a mailing list or anything, we're really in the dark ages. But we're gonna, if there is a next time, we're definitely going to Sydney and then back to Melbourne, and then we can do something. If you get in touch with me, we'll do something in Brisbane because I have some friends back there. I used to live down in Byron Bay for a while.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, I was just there. It was nice.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
it's beautiful. Yeah, just before this whole stuff, we went to Australia to that Melbourne trip. And I went a week in Byron, but I didn't do anything there.
Just a bit of surfing.
Not even that. My
Not even
surfing days are maybe 1 to 2 feet now. Very small. Yeah, my knees are bad and everything.
Like for me, it seems like the experience is there's, even though there is Phil is a lot lighter. There's still annoyance. There's still anxiety. There's still fear that's hovering around. It's kind of like it's always there. It seems to be part of this experience. It's kind of like it seems to be. Would you say that's part of being a human action figure or whatever?
Well, it's
way is always.
Is it part of being an action figure, or is the action figure making that? Yeah, I don't know the chicken or the egg, which is first, really. Yeah, I don't know. Of course, if you took yourself to be a body, and the way the body is, it can't fulfill its own needs. Yeah, and you were cast in a game that had time in it, so even though you had all your needs fulfilled right now, you may not have them for tomorrow. That would provoke a lot of possibility, yes?
Yeah.
And then if you focus all that going on into a self-centered, like where everything is seen as how it pertains to you, I can imagine it could generate a lot of anxiety. Yeah. Don't you feel? Yeah.
Yeah, sure, but it doesn't. It comes up. It doesn't stick around. It seems to blow on through.
Well, that's traveling lighter. So that's what we're saying. What more do you want? Yeah. So
exactly. Yeah. What more do you want?
if something can be expressed that you couldn't cause by entertaining certain ideas, and it's exactly what you wanted, maybe not in the imagery you were imagining, but it was basically what you wanted. What would be that response if you could have a response, which would be honored humility? You'd be, far out. Yeah. See, I really feel, as soon as this idea of time kicks in, we're the obscuring agent, yes? We are. Not that the agent is obscured, but we're the obscuring agent. So there's no, and the process of selfing and the implying of self is so fast, there's no process you can do in time that's going to get before it. Yeah, I tried it with drug addiction. I tried to, not purposely, but there was a purpose. I would shoot coke to the point of expiring, yeah, with the hopes that I would still be there before the body and everything collapsed, and for 1 second I would have freedom. I really believed it. I was insane. And it was a religion to me. I shot cocaine like a sacrament. And I would go there, and because I figured I haven't been able to get out of this fucking thing, so maybe if I bring it to the point of dying, there'd be an escape hatch I haven't seen before. Yeah? But self can't get out of self. That's the dilemma. The idea of a system can't leave the system that's having it. Yes? It's just the way it goes. So, now I never try to get out of here because I realize the wisdom of no escape. I can't get out of an imaginary place. So what are you going to do? Keep digging? No, you're going to chill out. Yeah.
So you're saying self is always there, always arising?
Selfing arises. It's neither here nor there. It will become there when we think it's here. And you know, it's going to do what it's going to do. I mean, and it's just when there's a loss of interest in it, you won't care as much. Yeah, it won't define your day or you or your relationships or anything. It will be I don't know what it will be, but it won't be like it used to be. Yeah. And then what more do you want, really? Yeah. If I have, if I have a contentment and a satisfaction that's not produced, yeah, it doesn't need maintenance, really. It's just there at all times, right where I am, no matter what's going on or where it's going on. I mean, what more do I want? You know, I can find rest there where I can't find rest. Like they say in the Bible, you know, the Son of Man can never rest its head or something. Yes? Well, yeah, it's true. But you can find rest. And it's not a conditional. And see, you know, I can't handle vigilance and a lot of work. Yeah? I don't want the solution to become another form of slavery. It just seems insane to me. I would think that our inherent nature is relaxed and available. It's not demanding any sacrifices or anything like that. That's all made up on this side. Yeah, it's just is there like a gatekeeper when you go into deep sleep at night? You know, reviews your day. No. Everyone, the worst person and the best person finds sleep every day usually. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
It amazes me how some people or some human communities have built up such incredible structures to keep everything afloat. Like I saw a thing last night on the Hasidic Jews in New York, just the incredible strictures and structures of that community to maintain the belief system. It just amazes me, you know.
Well, you know, whatever. There's still value there because it's mind dreaming itself out of the dreaming. So, yeah, I know so many people who are like Mormons and stuff like that, but usually they have to have a huge acting out to get away from that kind of lifestyle. So the guy I know now is like he's a teacher at a Ganja yoga place in Toronto. I mean, it's just all of it is like a dualistic movement. You can see it, you know. There's an addict's life, then they get recovered. Yes, there's always If you try to be right and pure and good, you have perversion usually. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, you gotta see it. It's all, that's what duality is. You can't have one side of the coin without the other side. Yeah, no matter how many times you cut this one side off to the other, it's not the coin has two sides. Yeah? Yeah. Let me see if anyone else. We're going to move to Lee. Lee, how are you? I thought the question would have left you by now. We starved you for about 10 minutes.
Hey, Paul.
Hey,
I'm
Lee.
here with Carolyn in Philadelphia.
Hello,
Good to see
how
you.
are you? Yeah.
And I'm wearing my Zen Bitch Slap shirt.
Oh, yes. That's the Uncle Sam asking for you to enlist. Yeah, that's an old one. I forgot that one. Yeah.
So I wanted to make an observation and then ask a question. So 6 or 7 years ago, when I first started to explore this issue of true nature, I had a number of epiphanies. And just as you've said, the epiphany ends with the statement, honey, I just had this incredible epiphany. But during one of these, I had the insight or the sense that my true nature was the center, say the center of a map. And usually when I was the thought-based self, I would be looking for anything. It would seem to be that I would forget that I was in the center. So anytime I was looking, I was seemingly leaving the center to look elsewhere. And finally, 6 or 7 years later, I realized, as you said, you are already the light. So I heard that enough times or sensed that enough that I can now just fall back into awareness or presence and just relax in it, just be myself, so to speak, without thought, which is, I think, wonderful. Except then thought inevitably comes up and tries to analyze and narrate what's going on, and then I'm quickly lost in the thought work.
All right, so why don't we just stop it after wonderful? Stop it after wonderful and see that this has nothing to do with that. That is the inherent condition. This is like a mental cloud moving by. Yeah? Don't give it relevance compared to this. Yeah? This is always available at all times. This is just barely appearing. Yeah? Yeah. So why not just, stop at, and it's wonderful. And then the shit happens. There's snowstorms or rain and stuff. Yeah. All right. That's included in this. This wonderfulness is it's not wonderfulness to me. It's just what it is. Just like a incessant note or something. Yeah. But that's there. And then that's the context. And then the content, this little mailbox slot of noticing from Lee and Paul, the context is this. Yeah. And then thoughts come in and stuff like that. Yeah? You see it? This is a whole different ball game than that. This is always there at all times. Doesn't produce any anxiety about not staying there. Doesn't has nothing to do with time, any of that. And then there is the activity of the mental state and in time. And there's a seeing of that. And in the seeing of that, that's implying, yes, implying something that's causing it to seem that you're away from the wonderfulness. Why not be able to see all the shit arising is arising in that one context? Yeah?
Well, I think what happens when a thought arises, it seems like it's me thinking, and I just get pulled right the heist, as you call it.
Yes, but what gets pulled in is the attention and interest. You haven't. So the intention and interest just needs a few more free samples, yeah, of its real, that which is of its nature, no thingness, to get used to just resting there, and also there's somewhat an attention to the movement of the clouds. But the attention to the movement of the clouds doesn't imply that you've left this. It's just it's like a piece of bait the mental state throws out there. And then, yeah. What? It's included. The shit that happens during the day is not juxtaposed against that. It's an inclusion. Yeah? The shit's happening all day. There's different thoughts. I was feeling better before. Now my stomach, I don't want to drink coffee, blah, blah, blah. And then there's that which is always available at all times. Yeah. Where do you need to travel lighter? Not in that which is available at all times. It would be nice to travel lighter here. I've come to the rude awakening that this can't promote its own wanting to travel lighter. It makes everything heavy. Yeah? Okay. So I want what I want, but I can't seem to produce it, so I'm just gonna, what? You know, and then see what happens. So, and by seeing what happens, I can tell you what happens. There'll be a loss of interest in the meaning of all this, oh, a thought came and ruined my day. Yeah? You'll lose interest in it. It's just that simple. A cloud doesn't deserve that much interest. It's moving and changing. Da, da, da. Just let it come and go. And it's not like, oh, witnessing it come and going. It's coming and going. It doesn't matter if you witness it or not. It's coming or going. In the context of that. Yeah. We want to find assurance in this coming and going, or against that coming and going, where the assurance is always available at all times. It's a traveling companion to that which comes and goes. Yeah, it's available. This doesn't negate this. You having strong thoughts and feelings hasn't changed a fucking thing. Literally. I mean, on the big picture, it hasn't left a half a second mark on anything. Yeah? Just, you're in the process, Lee. I've watched you over these years. The interest and attention is being, see, it's not little bits are being moved. The whole thing is being moved, so you don't notice it so much. But you start telling, I'm traveling lighter, and the whole thing is moving from that which is always coming and going over to that which you can rest in. Yeah? Enjoy the freaking ride.
Oh, I am getting closer.
You just lost 4 squares. You got to start back here. That's what we're doing. You're almost, no, you're back. I just want to, you know, that which says, see, it implies you already left when it's trying to convince you about leaving, yeah? The head is implying you've already left when it's trying to entice you about leaving. It's your feeling of leaving, yeah, isn't an observation of being so. It's produced by your belief you already left. As soon as a thought comes, you believe that you've left. You're obsessed with the thought, yeah? No.
I will say that sometimes a thought comes, and instead of thinking it's me, I can see it as just a voice claiming to be me.
Yeah, it's great.
And I'm not that.
No, you're not that.
That's true for every thought. So,
But you don't have to go through that same event for every thought, because thoughts are quite, you know, you see one thought, you see in a million of them.
a million.
You don't have to recognize each thought. What you recognize is you're not the thinker, really. Yes? The thoughts are like popcorn coming out of a popcorn maker. Yeah. That's all. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see, any other questions?
Well, I want to try something.
All right.
Since we'll do a disembodied voice. I couldn't raise my hand over that
Oh,
one.
all right. Mike wants to say something, but stand back, Mike, a little bit.
Stand back.
We're trying to have our
Sorry.
distance, social distancing.
Sorry. This is a comment on, or elaboration on both what I'm not, trying to see what I'm not, and the idea of letting things land. So, like, the grace of the message about me trying to figure it out, you know, it doesn't go more than a second. I don't understand. So good.
Yeah.
So, but then I'll notice sometimes like the dualistic thing about I can't see what I'm not because it's going to jump back and forth, kind of like thief, cop, good cop, bad cop. So like examples, just these examples of like people pleaser. Oh, I see I'm a people pleaser, so therefore I'm an asshole that I've been trying to please people. So
I agree with those.
or like being responsible with money. I should be responsible, but oh no, that's
Yeah.
you know, that's uptight. So I should be carefree, like without trying to be carefree. And of course, then if you know if that shows evidence of like overspending or something like that, then it's just the dualistic bouncing back and forth. So it's kind of like so that becomes kind of funny. the mental state can only see things linearly, so it's bouncing the dualistic thing back and forth. And so there's no way to grab it. So it's kind of more like a lightning flash that has an after image burn. And then the interest in the thought is trying to fill out the after image burn.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know why I'm saying this.
I don't either.
Except that it just seems like a funny way to show why we can't. The idea that we can see what we're not is what I'm trying to express.
Yeah.
We can't really.
No.
Or at least I can't.
Of course you know.
That was it.
That's Mike. Did everyone hear Mike? Did everyone hear Mike? He only has a 2-hour furlough from the asylum, so he wanted to share. So I can hear the sirens. They're coming. The ambulance. So anyone else have a question? Oh yes, Brendan, Newcastle.
Hey Paul, how are you?
Good.
Sorry,
Hold on, there's another one too, but first Brendan and then Shaza. Yeah. All right, Brendan.
So I'm in the recovery scene also, and I sort of stumbled across you, I suppose, on YouTube maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and I remember hearing you talking about on page 64 in the big book, being convinced. You mentioned it briefly earlier. I kind of realised that basically everything that I do in working the program in Alcoholics Anonymous is, I'm sort of taking inventory on something that I'm not.
Yes.
Which I suppose changed my experience in AA and going to meetings and those types of things, and I found it really difficult to be there.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to ask what your experience was in that sort of situation, and obviously things are good for me now, but I just wanted to sort of ask if you'd be able to share a little bit of your experience around
about the idea of in contrast with the community of AA.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, and and what what.
Yes.
Because it changed the way that I shared it. It changed the way that I saw things. It changed the way that I like newcomers, and obviously I wouldn't just bombard them with this type of teaching or anything like that. But just your experience.
Yes.
I suppose,
well,
around that.
I had the same thing. For everyone who's here, I come from recovery, alcoholic and drug addict stuff, and so. And I still participate in the community now, except I haven't gone to any Zoom meetings. But so what occurred was when they explained to me, and the big book that they use explained to me through describing what an alcoholic is, it was very clear that I was completely demonstrating that. Yeah. And so I went ahead with that idea. And then they talked about self, and I think most of the time I thought it was like an idea of an ego, which I don't see it to be that. And then around the 7th year of sobriety, the 3rd year of sobriety, I started speaking leading these fourth step workshops, which is a process that we inventory resentments and fears in our lives to take a look at our role in things. And I was in this position to share, and I'd go around the country. I went around the world, actually, Malaysia and Thailand and Bali, to give these shares. And then things kept evolving and changing, and then I saw the idea of self not as an ego, but I saw it as like a parasitical movement or a foreign pathogen or a whatever. I just saw it very clearly as not me, and that was then the real possibility of being free from it was rearranged, because I had a flash when that started to become obvious. I saw my life, and I had been trying to be free as self. All my little antics, all the drug addiction and the spiritual practices, basically they could have all been captured by self trying to get out of self. And so I suddenly saw that as foreign, and then the possibility of, hey, I can be free from that. And that was that, really. Then things just cascaded from there. It was just a simple switcheroo. I can't be free from that which I'm identified as. I can only try to be free as that which I'm identified as. So it really, really cripples that possibility. And so I started sharing it at meetings, and then I realized that a lot of people were getting upset with me in a lot of ways, or like that I could be misleading newcomers and stuff like that. So then but I never had presented. I had my own meetings. I stopped doing this, anything with AA, and I started doing our own talks. And then I would say the same thing if it was framed in AA. They loved it, and if I told them to go to Zen Bitch Slap, I never heard from them again. So it was a very weird thing that they liked what was the sense that was happening, but they didn't like the idea of a Zen Bitch Slap or anything like that. So yeah, I went through all that stuff, but I had enough credibility in my community. I'd done a lot of service there, and so they have to put up with me, basically. But what happened is they neutered me by giving me nicknames. So my nicknames was Non-Self Paul, Buddha Paul, Fourth Step Paul, a lot of things. And once you're named like that, then no one's hearing anything from you. So that's what motivated us to put out the website, really. Because I knew there must be other people in recovery in other communities that would get off on this shit. And that's what we did. The first few times we tried to get the website, we only had newcomers helping us, and they went out, so the website was never made for about a year and a half. We finally got some sober person long enough to make the website, and we put Zen Bitch Slap out, and we started to put the information out. And now I can speak a lot in AA without directly pointing to non-duality. Yeah, it's just like an art form, but and I'm a real believer as the action figure, because I would see people leaving because they weren't getting what they needed just in AA, and I figured, well, let's bring this shit back into AA so people don't have to leave. Yeah. So why have to go to India to hear someone speak about non-duality? You could come to San Francisco. I mean, much cheaper.
One thing that I guess I think the big book sort of subtly points to this. I'm not sure if when Bill wrote it that he actually noticed it.
No, I don't think so.
Or he knew about it. I don't think he did. But you know, I think one thing that I use is the great, and you know, the big book points to that. You know, the great reality, or this, you know, fundamental idea that lies deep down within every man, woman, and child. That you know, the idea of there being a God, I suppose. And I think well, my experience is that I just sort of I share less. I'm not necessarily so eager to point it out, and but I've stumbled across a fair few people who do sort of share about it, and like whether or not they're intending to, but one that comes to mind was sort of Sandy B, Chuck C,
Yeah, Chuck C.
down, like pointing to that as well.
Yeah, it's out there, and then, like they said, a guy from who I like, the ex-Brazilian president Lula, he said, they can kill all the flowers in the spring, but they can't kill an idea. Yeah, so this idea is in there now. That was the whole point. Yes.
Yeah.
It's another possibility. So if you take recovery, it leads to the inevitability. See, but you may not even stay alive by having to get there. But what it shows you is what's already before, that there was no self. Yeah. So whatever, just do whatever we're doing.
It's only what is always is, and the only thing that I suppose creates an idea that I'm not that which I'm looking for is based in ignorance, or there's also that statement that's used in recovery a lot is that self-knowledge is not the answer, but what I've found is that self-knowledge is the answer.
Well, how I flip that? Self-knowledge avails us nothing, but knowledge of self is very valuable. Yeah. So knowledge is going to be given the meaning. See, again, we as the dreaming override everything. So there's knowledge. In one sense, if it's being claimed by this idea of self, it's going to have no value in the producing the release of self. Yeah. But the same knowledge of self is very valuable. But self-knowledge isn't. This to me always implies the dreaming of this place. Yeah? The dreaming. So I did a talk in London, and it was almost like a ringer was sent. Some guy was set on questions, a lot of questions. So he started talking about hope, the absolute hope. The absolute meaning of hope is it's not good. It's a disservice to anyone. Well, I say, not to a person coming into AA who is completely hopeless. A little bit of hope has a lot of meaning. It does, and then maybe down the road it becomes a disservice if you hope yourself to be somewhere else that you're not. Yeah, without acknowledging where you are. But in fact, there is no absolute meaning of anything here. It's given the meaning by us. Yeah, we're the absoluteness, giving meaning to things. So, yeah. And then there's another one I just want to talk about in AA. It says, we manufacture our own misery. I'm not a believer in that. I believe we're the facility that the mental state uses to manufacture misery through. But this same facility can manufacture compassion, service, generosity, clarity, farsightedness. It has a lot of potentiality. It's who's running the factory. Yeah. So I'm not gonna claim the shit that I did when I was out there as being my shit. I would have done what I did when I was out there using to anyone unless you could physically stop me. I had no fucking sense of volition and no sense of being the cause of it. I was being used for transportation. This is what bothers me in recovery. People are still the effects of the mental state, harvesting tons of guilt and shame based on the behavior they exhibited while under the influence. Where's the freedom from that? You have to see the powerlessness. You were powerless over what you were going to do when you were under the influence.
Even back then when I was doing all that stuff, there was always a subtle sense that, like, there was two of me, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like there was the me that didn't want to do any of that bad stuff, and yet there was this, it was like I sort of had this weird sense when I was, stealing my mum's laptop and taking it to the hock shop. There was like you know, I don't really want to do this, but there was something that had power that was doing it.
Yeah,
And I suppose, yeah, the guilt and the shame, yeah, is no longer with me, obviously, because I realised that it was just, you know, all it was that I took myself to be that which was still in the laptop, but really I was the witness to that which was still in the laptop.
exactly. So see, this is a possibility. So this is what we can do with a message. You can offer possibilities to see something in a new light. Yeah. That's the point. And yet, see, the system itself is so jealous of itself. People in recovery run into the biggest warning of the book, which is contempt prior to investigation. We're doing it all day. We're not, but that's what's happening all day. So, all right, let's move on to who is Shaza. Are you still here, Shaza?
Sharon.
Oh, Sharon. You're masquerading as Shaza now. All right.
That's what my husband called. That's what a lot of people call me. I just never told you.
All right. Well, it's out now.
So it's not so much a question, but last week I just thought it was brilliant. Somebody said how they were starting to hear their inner, and I don't remember who, was starting to hear their inner dialogue, like David Attenborough, the guy who does all the naked films, and it was just a really good observation. And then you went on to say, yeah, and then it's really captivating because the voice actually comes into our voice. It sounds as if it's our voice. So, you know, we're transfixed and we think it's the me. And it was just a really useful, lovely comment. And I hope you keep it and it stays in satsang because it's a very tangible, useful tool.
Well, look at there's voice coming out of supposedly produced by vocal cords. Yeah, where are they yours? Yeah, it's a leap. So these vocal cords are mine. So what would happen if my I die is put into someone else's head? Yeah, who's alive and facilitates seeing? Is that person seeing out of my eye? It's an absurd stretch. It really is. Yet the language is implying it, assuming it, reinforcing it all day. It's always saying it has a lot to do with a lot of shit we have nothing to do with. It's amazing. I mean, if people would, instead of going off on metaphysical concepts, just look at the dog shit way things go, just for 10 minutes. There's a lot to be revealed. And yeah, we had this one I used to use a lot. Anyone here that don't come to the talks much, that's good. Well, I used to, when I was younger, you know, when I got to be about 12 years old, the hormones kick in and I was getting, you know, interested in women, girls. And so my hair was growing a little bit then, and I had these red corduroy pants and this gray long sleeve t-shirt. I thought I looked pretty cool in. And I'd go to the mall called Roosevelt Field in Long Island. I'd take the bus there, and I'd just basically spend the day looking at my reflection in the store windows and catching other people looking at me. And I'm thinking it's working. People are checking me out. And I'd wear the same outfit like a lot every weekend. I'd go for a few months. And then one day a friend of mine had some compassion on me and said, "Hey, Paul, you know those red corduroys you're always wearing?" I go, "Yeah." He says, "They're magenta, bro. And you know that gray shirt that you keep talking to me about? It's actually pink." So he told me that which I thought was gray and red was pink and magenta. And as soon as he told me, I saw it as pink and magenta. I saw it. Never not to see it as pink and magenta from that moment. Even though for months I thought it was gray and red, as soon as it was corrected, I saw it. I didn't go into the closet 8 months later. Is it gray? I just knew From that point on, it had always been magenta and pink. It was always going to be magenta and pink. I was just under a delusion thinking it was gray and red. Yes, this is exactly what the message is like. Somewhere in there, something hears it and something gets reshuffled, you know? And there's and some of the incessant possibilities the mental state plays with is moved to the impossible file. It's fucking impossible to be out of a moment. Just impossible. Never gets debated again, because then from that point on, your observation doesn't need reinforcement. It's seeing blue as blue and red as red. It's obvious, yes? It's obvious. Now you're on to something. This is what we hope with satsang. You just throw this stuff out, because I know what fundamentally has been going through this is fundamentally going through that. Yeah? And you can make it as personal as you like, but the basis of it is completely impersonal. It's mechanical. Yeah? It likes to... It changes things by giving it bigger sizes and longer length, but it's the same old, same old. And you can see it. And then when you see it, the whole thing, that why the interested attention just follows it down fucking the rabbit hole all the time, is because it's about you. If you can weaken that belief that it's you just through fucking entertaining the insanity of that idea, then the interest and attention stops going down the rabbit hole. It's just here, yeah? And you'll sense it as presence. If presence won't be a goal you want to arrive at, you're using the presence to seek the presence. Yeah, that gets stopped, and now you're here. Not because of anything, you're here completely, because in a way you're not here, really. Yeah. Then the Urban Renewal Project gets canceled. I mean, this is vastly improved than what it was, but it's never going to be a chariot of the gods. You know, there's no way. It's got its functionality. I'm happy. It gets me to the kitchen. I'm not fucking in a wheelchair yet. So basically, get on with the day. It's going to be forgotten as soon as as soon as we turn this thing off, I'm going to forget this. That's when people say what I said, I don't remember most of it, except for the shit I repeat quite a lot. And seeing that, I completely forgot about that shirt Lee has on. Completely forgot. That was one of the fall shirts. Who knows? Any more questions? Oh yeah, Shaza again.
No, I didn't lower her hand.
Oh, you didn't lower the hand.
Thank you.
All right. Let's take, what time is it now? Let's take one more, eh?
2:40.
Who's this lady, Linda Stevenson? What are you doing, Linda, over there? You like to say hello? We can't hear you. Got to unmute. He's going to unmute you.
Oh, I saw you.
Oh, you did it. Yeah.
I saw you 2 or 3 years ago in San Francisco at the church.
Yes.
That was the night you forgot to put the sign out, and I almost missed you.
Yes. We saw you coming. We took the sign down.
And I thanked you for helping me get sober.
Yeah.
And I want to continue to thank you for all you're doing. You're my favorite go-to for reminding myself that I'm not the
Yes.
self I take myself to be, and especially in this time when so much is going on, I found myself not traveling lighter, so I've kind of reconnected with you. I'm really happy you're doing the Zoom. I'm in Minneapolis.
Yes.
So maybe we can get you here one of these days.
Yeah, my friend lives there. I'd love to go back. I've been there a few times.
Great.
Yeah. Get in touch with me through the website. I'd love to have an excuse. Yeah, my friend Christian He was one of my first sponsees. Lives there. He's still sober and everything.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, so am I. So thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, Linda. And we have it Wednesday nights at 7:30 too.
Okay.
We're doing 2 of them. All right. Yeah.
Great.
With the same link every time, right? Same link, easy. And let me say hello to Ashley. Ashley, before we go, I like the people who are in the bed. They're like very comfortable.
Hi, Paul.
It looks like bed.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm in Dallas. I saw you when you came to speak at Firing Line when Arthur Deller brought you.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Arthur was right here, I think. Is he there? There he is. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 3 of us who like to watch you and talk about your talks and follow what's going on.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. I had fun. That was fun in Dallas.
I heard you were talking the other day about your day because someone asked, and when you came, you went to thrift store, the small lake, and
And yes, hasn't changed.
yeah.
It's the same routine, yes. Yeah. But now we've adapted. We have a big yard here, and I'm just building shit out of nothing.
Yeah.
In the back, yeah. Yeah, I'll have to take you guys on a video tour sometime. It's pretty cool. We got a huge yard. We're very fortunate through all this, really.
I think we all are.
Yes.
I mean, if we have a home and the ability to maybe still work or take care of ourselves, we are okay.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, really. All right, Ashley, thank you. And let's stay in touch with these people, Barbara and Roman. Oh, they're my friends from Germany.
Denmark, I think. In Germany.
Oh, you're in Germany now, eh?
I think they're one from you.
They were just in a pause right there. How are you?
Very good. Yes, thank you. And you?
Good, fantastic. They came here. For everyone else, they came to have one of the Paul Hedderman famous tours. So I took them around the beaches and shit.
Yeah.
That was good. Someone is Harry above you too. Yeah, Harry, we'll get to you in a minute. We want to make sure you didn't buy that gun.
No.
So all is well over there?
Yeah, everything is well, and we saw the gun buying in the news, the American gun buying that is going on. It's quite spectacular.
Yes. You'll never be surprised by underestimating the stupidity of us. Well, you'll always be surprised. Yeah, it's insane. And the toilet paper thing, I still don't figure that one out.
And happened here as well.
What? They're doing it there, yeah.
Pastry in the form of toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
Idea.
There's a lot of jokes around it. So listen, get in touch with me if you want, personally, call me.
Yeah, would be nice. Okay, we'll do.
And we'll see you on Wednesday. And one more person, say hello. Elliot Rosen, you doing all right up there?
Yeah, hi. This is my first time with you. I'm a friend of Hari's.
Oh, Hari. She's right next to the square.
No, I can't see her, but I was, she's been telling me to come and listen to you. I'm also a 12-step person. So it's really been amazing because I kind of found out about non-duality outside of program. So finding you and some other people that are talking about this stuff, because I think I felt like a black sheep for a bit in the middle of it, because it's really the ultimate answer to any addict. This.
Yeah, but don't go around saying that to every addict. If their house is on fire, give them a pail of water. Don't give them this message. All right, I'm just going to go to Hari a second. Hari. This is another good friend of ours.
Unmute yourself, Hari.
Unmute yourself, Hari. Unmute. Maybe we have her on permanent mute after the gun thing. Hari?
I just jumped up and down just a second ago because I hadn't realized that was Barb and Roman. I know them too, and I think I harassed them into going to listen to you one day.
Yes.
Paul, I'm so glad you're doing this. If you were to go up to 3 days a week, I would try to see every single one of them. It's fabulous. It's just fabulous.
Well, we may do it. We have a lot of time on our hands. I wanted to do an AA thing, but it turns into it AA anyway, and whatever. We'll see what happens. But right now, the 2 days, and we'll add another one, really.
I just want to say 100% thumbs up on it. It's fantastic.
Oh, good.
Really great.
Got Donna over there. Donna from Ohio, the silent one. Everyone. Alberto from Barcelona. Very nice. Linda, we're going to talk again. There's James, my Gandalf-looking friend somewhere. Gandalf with bad eyesight. And Linda Wittstein. How are you, Linda? All right? And Jerry. Anyone else? Shaza again? Oh, you're on completely.
I didn't know.
Well, let's end, eh? Can we end the day?
Can I just say
thanks for doing this, Paul.
Hold on. Yes.
I just want to say that this is really neat because for me, encountering you and some others stopped that spiritual addiction seeking, and it was a natural extension of AA, it seemed like, to transfer addiction to seeking.
Yes. Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
And the suggestion over and over and over and over to stop doing that, all of a sudden made some of the stuff that I was seeking kind of come back and helped once I slowed down enough. But it's just so cool to hear other people from recovery who found what you're talking about to be, I don't know, I wasn't getting the juice from it until I started seeing what I'm not.
Yeah, good. Yes. Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome, James. Good, yes. Anyone
Thanks,
else?
Paul.
How's
Appreciate
Joe
it.
B? Hold on, Joe B. Joe, all right? Good. We can't hear you, though.
I think it's this band.
Seen in a while, so this world situation has brought me back. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, good. Nice to see you, Joe. And Paul Renz? How are you, Paul?
Good, John. This is my first time of hearing you live. I've really been a fan of yours on YouTube, and I'm really grateful that you're doing this. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Paul. Yeah, we're going to keep doing it, and you guys actually make it up. And how about Jodri up there? If I'm saying your name right. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, good.
My name's Glenda, actually. That's my husband's. It's Jay O'Driscoll.
Oh, Glenda. Nice to meet you, Glenda.
I love listening to you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
so, and I know they're all wrong. They're all, my head will tell me they're just circular. They're just
Our Wi-Fi's slowing down.
going nowhere.
Yes.
I love this.
Good. Well, and it's a nice way. You can just lay down. It's great. It's pretty sweet. Lay down. And for security, you have the remote in the hand. I can't see. So as soon as I get boring, you can put on Netflix.
Never.
I'm joking around. Hey, we're going to end, eh?
This is the second page, so you can
Oh,
quickly
the other
save.
people. Oh, we haven't seen these folks. Let's go through them.